Hello, welcome to my channel for Evolved Humans. I am Ms. Day. This one started kind of intense because the very first thing I heard in my head was I'd fight to forgive you and then I'd look down on myself. Like that was really clear. And it went right into you may not know, I don't think you've gotten credit out loud from people very often for your good intentions and your pureness of intentions. And there's something to, so like that, I forgive you, or I'd fight to forgive you, and then I'd look down on myself. It made me picture someone who knows what's right and good, but okay. It's almost like you kept in the past. I think you've overcome this. Something was holding you back in the past. Something, someone, someone's, or yourself with the something and someone's. It's like something was holding you back in the past and keeping you from seeing the future. And it's like, I think you kept getting built up and then fooled. And I don't know if that was a direct effect on you. I mean, it was, but it was like, I don't know if it was direct offenses on you that did that, but it's like a feeling of someone behind the scenes just always kind of giving you something to work through, like something you have to work through again. And you working on yourself while they are not. And it's like it kind of messed, it feels like it got so specific where you know the truth of the matter, which is that you could not be responsible for what their actions were, but you were responsible for your own ability to see them as a human. And that is because of the type of human that you are, which I feel that you've not had spoken to you. It's like you don't get that said to you. And I don't think that's in a seriously dark way. I just mean, I don't think you share what you've been through, because you seem to be someone who's been through a lot, and each time you got out of a scenario, something else happened that you had to pick up and carry as well. And in the past, I think it may have slowed you down, but like no more. That's where it is. It's like you have allowed yourself into this new state where you can look back at it, but I feel like you don't think you need approval from anyone. Like, you know what is right, and you've decided to stand on that all alone. So it's like the messages that you were climbing, like you were just kind of making it through. And I feel that what has happened is not what you see yourself as. Like how you've come out of it is balanced between your mind and your body. And that means you overcame that period of stillness all with your own intentions, like your own good intentions. There's a lot of green in this reading, which I think is kind of fun because I have this little Celtic charm thing that is just kind of a symbol of like the Celtic knots, like a Celtic knots with a spiritual journey attached to that idea, where it's like you spend your life sort of finding your way throughout your own maze to your spiritual yourself again, your center, the source is how I see that. And it feels as though this is saying you have kept that alive in you. You are that. So going into the next chapter of your motion, it seems like, seriously, like, don't be so hard on yourself. I think you see yourself a lot rougher than you are. Like, I think you see yourself, you know how when okay, so like in my early adult years, I was learning how society treated people in different roles, you know, where like you can see how people treat those who work in a fast food restaurant, you can see how people are treated in like a high-end retail store, whatever. All sorts of different jobs get treated differently by different societal people, you know? And this seems like you identified yourself as kind of one of those like outsider, rougher individuals, which I understand, which is, I wouldn't see it if I didn't. But like, it seems like so I'm remembering back to when I kind of thought I couldn't be friends with people that didn't also smoke weed, or that weren't okay with cigarettes when I was smoking cigarettes. And, you know, so, or like, okay with me believing my passed on father was constantly with me. Like, that was a big staple if you're going to be my actual friend in life. Because that's a part of my identity, is that I feel that presence. And so the whole point of that was I think what this message is for you is to elevate your perception of your own self now in a bigger way, in like a societal role. Like, let yourself see yourself better than you may have seen yourself before. Like, the way that society sees you, that's what I mean. Like, in my early adult years, it was more of what I was paying attention to was how society was reacting to certain things about me and other people. And then now it's more so like I'm a member in it, where I've decided based on all of that stuff, like how I'm going to interact back to society as a member of it. So it's like, that's where you are. And I feel that it's not only that, where it's telling you, where the message is that you've elevated yourself, but like you've done so in the right ways. You've done so in a way that you've been watched, and you should not be hard on yourself because you're not being judged for how hard it was. And that makes me think of this thing that my daughter said to me, which I don't know if I mentioned it in this one or the last one, but I had said something to her about, yeah, it was the last one, because it was about like not being able to be an expert until you're a fool first. And she has this quote book, and she was like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of this quote in my book, and which you've probably heard it, which was the one where it's like, if you're not making any mistakes, you're not trying anything new. And this is where it's like, you did all of that. That's all you need to see that as. And the message is, this is kind of weird, but it's like you're clean. You've cleaned. If you actually grow and elevate out of things, then you go through remorse for bad behaviors as you do that. So it feels like you've earned this sort of like give yourself some credit as opposed to more expectations. Like, okay, you can handle more than other people, well, then you better do that. No, this is more so you've handled it because of who you are, so let yourself see that for a little bit. Also, something this reminded me of, which I don't know why, and I don't know who needs to hear it. I also thought about this in the last reading, but it's that, which, okay, like when we mention people, I think people might, like if I mention someone, I don't necessarily feel like they're my buddy or that I even agree with that. I don't even know things about a lot of the people that I hear things said from sometimes, like especially on the internet. So, the Duggars, like that family, the father of this massive family, I'm remembering him being interviewed at some point when there were like allegations about I think him and the wife keeping silent when something was going on in the house. Um, Behind closed doors. Like nobody knew. And in a way that sucks more. But I don't think you look at it that way. I feel like you don't need gratification. You just need to know that you're on the right track. And I think that you don't even ask for that all the time. But if you do, here's that answer, which is basically yeah, and also lay off yourself. But okay, so that dad said that when he was trying to comfort, I think, one of his children through these things, it was like forgiveness is so important, but that doesn't, first of all, that doesn't mean it's required, but also he said this brilliant line, which was, there's a difference between forgiveness and trust. And there's a huge difference between forgiving a person and then trusting them again with you. Like, are they trustworthy with you? Well, you don't have to say yes to that in order to say, do you forgive them? Yes, or am I capable of forgiving what they did or that they broke my trust? Whatever it is. It's like, this is all about you. So I'm not saying to forgive anybody who doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying that you can get lost in that area in between if you try to shove trusting someone again and forgiving them all in one bundle. Like, that's too much to ask of yourself. It is. And I'm picturing that thing again where it's like some people, I think, are releasing ties from their life that they didn't realize were actually harming them or holding them back. That's difficult. And it may leave you feeling very alone, because this is such a huge, like, you have not been alone, and we've been behind those closed doors with you. You've been seen. It's all nature. You know what? There were these birds on our bushes along our yard right now are all naked. All the leaves are gone, and we have like no privacy anymore on that side. But there were everything is brown and dying because it's cold now. I just love it. So there were birds out there, and there were cardinals, and they were so bright red. And so we were looking at them. We were like, oh my gosh, cardinals. And then a little later, there was one blue jay, but it was like hidden. And no matter what angle I went to look at this bird, I could not see him. I don't know if all the dudes and females are blue. I'm gonna have to look into that. But the whole point is, it was like hidden behind this lame color of brown. And it was almost like he was doing it on purpose, like just kind of hopping around back there. And I just thought it was funny, but now I'm thinking, you don't think you're seen in the same way that you thought, in the same way that you didn't see the ties, I think, but you knew they were there. It's like, it's that real that there's also another thing here that's not that hold back feeling, but instead it's the bring you higher feeling. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that's beneficial. Definitely let me know again in the comments if this resonates. I'm really enjoying doing these quickly because it feels more comfortable for me and I don't have to edit them. Okay, so I'll see you in the next reading. Bye.